Hello, my name's Dave and welcome back to this lesson series which is about learning the basics of music theory in an easy step-by-step way. The first episode was all about learning the notes, the second episode was all about learning the major scale. This episode we're going to be starting to look at something called the circle of fifths, also known as the circle of fourths. There is a book that accompanies this course, so if you want to see information about that, just go to the link in the description box below. Okay, so this section is all about the circle of fifths. This can also be called the circle or cycle of fourths as well, and this is an incredibly useful tool that you can use to help you with music theory. The circle of fifths, or circle of fourths, basically all it is a visual representation of the relationships between all 12 notes of the chromatic scale. It shows you the corresponding key signatures, so all that means is that you can find out what sharps or flats, so basically what notes are within any key. The circle has 12 points on it, just like a clock face. Each of those 12 points is going to have a note, so the 12 notes of the chromatic scale are going to go around the outside of the circle. So as we stated in the last lesson, there was one key that has no sharps or flats. That is the key of C major. So we're going to put that at 12 o'clock. So on the top of the clock face at 12 o'clock, we're going to write the letter C. Next, we need to find a fifth above C. Using the notes of the C major scale, we want to count up 5 notes, and that's the letter we're after. So we start from C. C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, and 5 is G. So G is the note we're after, and like I said, we use the notes of the major scale to find that, so you just count up until you get to the fifth one. So now we have G, we're going to place that at 1 o'clock on our circle. So we have G now at 1 o'clock, so we now need to use the G major scale, and we need to find the fifth above G. So we start with G is number 1, A is number 2, B is 3, C is 4, and D is 5. So D, that's the one we're after, the fifth point of the scale. So we found the fifth above G. And that is going to go at 2 o'clock on our circle. So we've got D now. So we've got C, then to G, then to D. Continue around the circle until you get to 6 o'clock. So you're just working out the fifth of whatever note you've just found before. So from D, you'd find a fifth above D, which is A, which is it goes at 3 o'clock. From A, you then find 4 o'clock by going a fifth from A, which is E. Then you find a fifth from E, which is B. And then when you get to B, the next, so that's at 5 o'clock. Next one will be 6 o'clock. So B, B, C, D, E, F. Now in the key of B, if you remember rightly, F isn't the note, is it? It's F sharp. So at 6 o'clock, we have to write down F sharp. Now you have the right-hand side of the circle of fifths filled in. The right-hand side, we call that the sharp side of the circle, and that's because all of the keys on the right side of the circle contain sharp notes. The left side of the circle, which we're going to come to in a moment, contains flat notes, but we're going to come to that in a few minutes. There's something else I want to go through about the sharp side first, some more important information. 12 o'clock was C. Now C, as you remember, has no sharps or flats, so C is just there, we'll just leave it as it is. But 1 o'clock is the key of G. Do you remember what note we had to change to make that scale fit the formula for the key of G? It was F, so we had to make the F into an F sharp. So we're going to put next to the G an F sharp. The circle of fifths is now telling us that the key of G major has only 1 sharp, and that note is F sharp. So if you needed to know what notes are in the key of G major, you can look at this circle and just go G major, it's at 1 o'clock, there's 1 sharp above it, so that's it. All the notes are G, A, B, C, D, E, and F we have to make F sharp. The interesting thing is now, is F sharp has been added to the sharp side of the circle. So every key from now on is going to include F sharp. Moving on to 2 o'clock, F sharp is already there. And we're going to be adding 1 more sharp, which is going to make the key of D major. That note is C sharp, so now we add C sharp to our circle. So the key of D major has F sharp and C sharp. This now means that the next point in our circle, 3 o'clock, is also going to have F sharp and C sharp because they've already been added. So all we're going to do now is on the next point in the circle is we're going to add 1 more sharp. So 3 o'clock on the circle is A. Like I said, F sharp's there, C sharp's there. We just need to add the new sharp, which is G sharp. Now you might have noticed, you might not have noticed, but the sharps that we're adding each time are actually following the pattern of the circle. It's not on the screen at the moment because it's part of the flat key, but to the left of C is F. F was the first sharp we added. After F on the circle is C. C was the next sharp we added. After the C, G. So G was the next sharp we added. So we're actually following the circle around in loads of different ways, and it's providing us all the information we need for the keys. The circle is going round in fifths, and it's also giving us our information in fifths. So as we go around the circle, you notice that 12 o'clock has no sharps, 1 has 1 sharp, 2 has 2, 3 has 3, 4 has 4, 5 has 5, and 6 has 6. So it's really useful for us to visualize the information that we need to know what notes are within a key. The next point in the circle, 4 o'clock, is E. 4 o'clock has 4 sharps. So we've already got the F sharp, we've already got the C sharp, we've already got the G sharp. All we need to do now is add in the D sharp. On to 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock we have 5 sharps, the ones we've already added. So F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. And now we just need to add our A sharp, and we've got our 5 sharps for 5 o'clock. Now 6 o'clock, 6 sharps. This is where, as I mentioned before, this is our crossover key where we cross over to flats. So you could actually display this key or use this key as either a sharp key or a flat key. So 6 o'clock, we've got all the sharps already added. So that was F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp. But now we have to add an E sharp. Okay, so at 6 o'clock, the sharp we add is the E sharp, as we've just said. I know what you're thinking straight away. Dave, there's no such thing as an E sharp. Now this is the thing. This is kind of the slight, I want to use the word anomaly to music theory. And basically we have to add an E sharp for the same reason as what I gave in the last video when I discussed why we have sharp keys and flat keys. So if you missed that, make sure you go check out that video. But basically it's the exact same reason, is we can only use each letter type once within a key. So if we didn't use this note as E sharp, it would actually be F that we're playing. But that means we'll be using the letter type F for both the notes F and F sharp. And that just doesn't work in a theoretical context because we wouldn't be using an E then. So we have to refer to F as E sharp. It can seem confusing, but that's just the way it is. And I can tell you right now, it's nowhere near as confusing as you think. If you are a reader or a sight reader, then this actually makes your life easier. And if you don't read and have no intention of reading music, it actually doesn't really affect you much at all. And we are going to come to the same exact anomaly when we do the flat side as well. So on that note, let's move on to the flat side. So we start from 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock, as we've already covered and it's already on the circle, is C. Now we're going to fill out the flat side. So we're going to go anti-clockwise. I think the Americans call that going counterclockwise. And when we go this way around the circle, we actually move up in fourths. Hence the name, the circle of fourths. So a fourth above C. So we go C, D, E, F. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we write F at 11 o'clock. So we're on F. Now we need to find a fourth from F. So we use the F major scale and we find the notes, the fourth note of that scale. So we've got F, G, A, B. B's our fourth. But do you remember when we filled out the major scale and we worked out the notes of the major scale? B wasn't a B, was it? It was B flat. So now we put B flat at 10 o'clock on the circle. So we've got 10 o'clock, we now need to find 9 o'clock. So we're using B flat and we find a fourth above B, or B flat I should say. So B, C, D, E. Now the key of B though, B flat, sorry, not B, B flat. The note E wasn't an E, was it? It was an E flat. So now we write E flat at 9 o'clock. Now we're on E flat, we need to use the E flat major scale to find a fourth, which is going to give us our 8 o'clock point of our circle. So E flat, F, G, A. And again, if we remember rightly, the key of E flat doesn't use an A, does it? It uses an A flat. So we now write A flat at 8 o'clock. The key of A flat, fourth above that. So A, B, C, D. And again, A flat, we don't have a D, we have a D flat, so we write D flat at 7 o'clock. Last one now, so we're going to find 6 o'clock again, because this is our crossover key, and as I said before, we can refer to this as a sharp key or a flat key, so we can have both on there. So now using D flat, we use a D flat major scale, and we find the fourth above D flat, so D flat, E flat, F, G. But again, D flat doesn't have a G, it has a G flat, so the last one, 6 o'clock, is G flat. So 6 o'clock, as we mentioned before, is G flat or F sharp. So we're going to take the next step now, which is the exact same as we did when we did the sharp side. We're going to find out what flats are within each key. So 12 o'clock is C, no sharps or flats. So we go around to 11 o'clock, which is F major. So the F major scale has 1 flat. That means that the next one's going to have 2 flats, the next one after that's 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. So we go around in the exact same way, just backwards this time. Now, the simple way of knowing what flat we're adding is it's actually the next one on the circle. So in F, a fourth above F is B flat. So B flat is actually the note we're adding to the key of F. And then that B flat goes around all of the flat sides. So you can fill all of them in if you want, just put B flat around them all. But now when you go to the key of B flat, the one we're adding is the one that's next in the circle, which is E flat. So we add E flat to the key of B flat. And now we've got the 2 flats in that key. You go around to the next one and you work your way around. So I'm just going to put those onto the circle now. Again, I just want to give a bit of attention to 6 o'clock because I know that this can seem a little bit confusing. So we said on the sharp side, the key of F sharp at 6 o'clock, we added an E sharp, which doesn't technically exist in the chromatic scale, but we can refer to F as E sharp to make it work in a theoretical context. Now the same thing happens when we use the flat keys. So the key of G flat, the note we've added is C flat. But as you are aware, there is no C flat in the chromatic scale. So basically what we are doing is we're referring to the note B as C flat. And that is just so that it works in a theoretical context. This is just one of those things that in music theory you just have to get used to. It's not as complicated as you might think. You just have to be aware that 6 o'clock, you can have it as either a sharp key or a flat key, and you're going to have a note that technically isn't in the chromatic scale. Okay, so the circle is showing us every bit of information that we need to know what notes are within keys. The circle is even providing us the information that we need in a particular order, which is a sequence, so you can use that to help you to remember the circle and the information that it provides. And this just demonstrates how useful the circle is. I've had a lot of people come to me and say they don't understand the circle of fifths, but a lot of times when they say that, it's because they don't understand what the circle is trying to show you. I mean, I personally think that knowing what notes are within any key, just like that really quickly, is incredibly valuable knowledge and information to have. And this is just the uses of the circle in this episode. We're going to come back to the circle later on and add some more information to it. In the next episode, we're going to look at intervals, which are the distances between notes. Thank you very much for watching this lesson. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to see about the book that accompanies this course, just go to the link in the description box below, and I will see you in the next episode.